"Sir, are you my father?" The millionaire froze upon seeing a little girl with a birthmark just like his. Before we dive into this exciting story, leave a comment below telling us where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Rain hammered against the windows of Brexton Cafe as Nathan Anderson loosened his tie with a weary sigh. Another day, another multi-million-dollar deal closed. Success had become routine, almost boring. At 38, he had everything money could buy, but something essential remained absent. Nathan glanced at his watch. 7:30 p.m. The tension from the boardroom still clung to him like the humidity outside. He needed this moment of peace before returning to his empty penthouse apartment. "The usual, Mr. Anderson," smiled the barista, already preparing his Americano. He nodded absently, his attention captured by something through the rain-fogged window. A small figure huddled under the cafe's awning. A little girl, no more than 6, sitting alone on the wet sidewalk. Something about her solitude bothered him. Children shouldn't be alone at this hour, especially in this weather. "Hold the coffee," he told the barista, heading outside. The little girl looked up when his shadow fell over her. Large brown eyes studied him with surprising composure for someone so young. Her clothes were clean but obviously worn. Her small backpack clutched protectively against her chest. "Are you okay?" Nathan asked, crouching to her level. "Where are your parents?" "I'm waiting for my grandfather," she replied confidently. "Sometimes he's late." Nathan nodded, noticing how she tucked a strand of dark hair behind her ear. A gesture so familiar it made his chest tighten strangely. "I'm Nathan." "What's your name?" "Emma Parker," she said, extending her small hand with adult formality. Parker. The name hit him like a physical punch, but surely it was just coincidence. "Well, Emma, it's getting dark. How about we wait inside where it's warm? I'll buy you a hot chocolate while we wait for your grandfather." She hesitated before nodding, taking her backpack. When she extended her hand toward his, her sleeve slipped back, revealing a distinctive crescent-shaped birthmark on her wrist. Nathan froze, losing his breath. That birthmark, identical to his own, identical to his mother's, was a rare family trait. "That's an interesting birthmark," he managed to say, his voice suddenly hoarse. "My mama had the same one," Emma said simply. "I never met her. She died when I was born." The world seemed to tilt beneath Nathan's feet. "Your mama's name, was it Jennifer?" Emma's eyes widened with surprise. "Yes, did you know my mommy?" Nathan leaned against the wall, memories flooding his mind. Jennifer Parker, his first love, the woman he'd lost contact with after college. "Emma, when's your birthday?" "February 12th, she replied, exactly 9 months after the last time he saw Jennifer. "My daddy's name was Nathan, too," Emma continued innocently. "That's what Grandma told me, but he left before I was born." In that moment, standing in the rain with a child he never knew existed, Nathan Anderson's carefully constructed world completely crumbled. If you're enjoying this moving story, don't forget to leave your like. Let's continue. Nathan stared at the DNA results on his desk, clinical confirmation of what he'd suspected since seeing Emma's crescent-shaped birthmark 2 weeks ago. 99.9% probability of paternity. The words blurred as he ran his hands through his hair. "This is impossible," he murmured, though the evidence was undeniable. His assistant Rachel knocked softly before entering his office. "The investigator called," she said hesitantly. "He found Jennifer's death certificate and Emma's birth certificate. You're listed as the father." Nathan's throat tightened. "Why didn't she tell me? Maybe we broke up. But this..." "According to her parents, she tried," Rachel explained. "She called your office dozens of times." Nathan frowned. "I never received any messages." Rachel placed a folder on his desk. "I checked our records from that period. There were calls from Jennifer, but they were all marked as resolved by your Uncle Harold." Nathan's stomach sank. Harold had been his mentor, guiding Nathan's career after his parents' death. The idea that his uncle could have deliberately kept him from Emma seemed unthinkable. "There's more," Rachel continued. "I found these in the files." She pulled out several envelopes addressed in Jennifer's handwriting, all unopened, all marked "Return to Sender" in handwriting Nathan recognized as Harold's. "He intercepted her letters," Nathan whispered, fury growing within him. "It appears so. And there's one more thing. Harold restructured your inheritance around that time, making himself executor until you turned 40 or..." Rachel paused. "Or what?" "Or until you had a family of your own." The pieces fell together with nauseating clarity. Harold had controlled Nathan's substantial inheritance for years. A child would have ended that arrangement immediately. Nathan stood abruptly. "I need to see my uncle. Now." Harold's corner office exuded power, much like the man himself. At 65, he remained imposing, his silver hair perfectly styled, his expression calculating as Nathan entered. "To what do I owe this unexpected visit?" Harold asked smoothly. Nathan threw the DNA results onto Harold's desk. "Did you know?" Harold glanced at the paper, his expression unchanging. "About your indiscretion with that Parker girl. Ancient history. Not so ancient. I have a daughter." Harold's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "A regrettable situation, I'm sure, but hardly relevant to the company." "You kept her from me," Nathan said, his voice dangerously low. "You hid Jennifer's calls, returned her letters. Why?" "Don't be dramatic. You were 25, about to take over as CEO. A child would have derailed everything we worked for." "Everything you worked for," Nathan corrected. "You had no right." Harold leaned forward. "I protected your future. That girl was never good enough for you or this family. Her daughter would have been just a distraction." "Her name is Emma," Nathan said through gritted teeth, "and she's my daughter." "Be sensible." Harold's voice hardened. "What exactly do you plan to do? Play daddy with a child you never knew? You know nothing about raising children." Nathan headed for the exit, stopping at the door. "I'm meeting with my lawyers tomorrow. I'm going to petition for custody." Harold's laugh was cold. "Do you really think a single workaholic with no parenting experience has any chance? Don't throw everything away for misguided guilt." "Watch me," Nathan replied, closing the door behind him. "This story is just beginning. Continue watching to discover if Nathan will manage to get his daughter back." The Parker residence was modest. A small craftsman house with faded blue paint and a well-tended garden. Nathan sat in his luxury car, palms sweating as he rehearsed what to say. This wasn't a business negotiation, this was his daughter. After 3 deep breaths, he finally approached the door. An older man with gentle eyes opened it. "Robert Parker, Jennifer's father." "Mr. Anderson, I believe you're expecting me." Robert's expression was cautious, but not hostile. "Emma's excited to meet you properly. She hasn't stopped talking about the man with the same birthmark." Inside, Martha Parker sat rigidly on the sofa, her disapproval evident in every line of her face. Nathan couldn't blame her. In her eyes, he was the man who abandoned her pregnant daughter. "Mrs. Parker," he nodded respectfully. "You look exactly like your photos," Martha said coldly. "Jennifer kept them all?" Nathan's heart contracted at hearing Jennifer's name. Before he could respond, Emma ran into the living room, stopping abruptly when she saw him. "You came?" she said, surprise coloring her voice. "I promised I would come." Nathan crouched to her level. "I brought something for you." He handed her a small velvet box. Inside was a silver locket containing a photo of Jennifer he'd found in his old college albums. "It's my mommy," Emma whispered, touching the photo reverently. "Yes, it is," Nathan agreed, his throat tight. "I thought you'd like to have it." Emma studied him intently. "Are you really my daddy?" The frankness of her question caught him off guard. "Yes, Emma, I am. Where were you before?" No accusation in her voice, just genuine curiosity. Nathan looked at the Parkers, then back at Emma. "I didn't know about you, sweetheart. If I had known, I would have been here, I promise." As Emma showed Nathan her room, his phone buzzed repeatedly. 12 missed calls from Harold. He silenced the device. "She has your smile," Robert observed when Emma disappeared to get her drawings. "She has Jennifer's eyes," Nathan replied softly. Robert nodded. Jennifer always said you'd come back someday. Even at the end, the words were like a knife to Nathan's chest. I would have come back if I had known. Well, you're here now, Robert said. The question is, are you going to stay? Before Nathan could answer, his phone lit up with a message from Rachel. Emergency. Harold filed an injunction claiming custody conflict. Lawyers waiting at the office. Martha appeared in the doorway. Your real life is calling, Mr. Anderson. Emma doesn't need another disappointment. Nathan put away his phone. This is my real life now, Mrs. Parker. I'm not going anywhere. As if summoned by his words, Emma returned, her smile so like his own. Can you come back tomorrow? She asked hopefully. Nathan took her small hand in his. Tomorrow and every day after that, if you'll let me. For the first time in years, he knew exactly where he belonged. What an exciting moment. If you're getting emotional with this story, share it with someone special. Daddy, you're doing it wrong, Emma laughed, watching Nathan struggle with her hair ties. His fingers, skilled at signing multi-million-dollar contracts, fumbled with the simple task of making ponytails. Sorry, sweetheart. I've never done this before, Nathan admitted, attempting once more to secure her dark curls. 3 weeks into his new role as Emma's father, Nathan was learning that business acumen was worthless in the world of parenting. Sleep routines, school lunches, and now hairstyles. Each day brought new challenges. Maybe I can help, offered a voice from the classroom door. Nathan turned to see Emma's teacher, Sophia Chen, watching with amusement. Morning drop-off had become the most stressful part of his day. Would you mind? He asked gratefully. With practiced ease, Sophia fixed Emma's hair while explaining the technique. Nathan watched carefully, determined to learn. All set, Emma. Why don't you join the others in the reading corner? Sophia suggested. Once Emma was out of earshot, Sophia turned to Nathan. How are you managing? Is it that obvious I'm drowning? He asked with a self-deprecating smile. All new parents struggle, she assured him, even those who've had 6 years to practice. Nathan's phone buzzed. Another message from Harold. He ignored it. Listen, Sophia lowered her voice. Emma's been drawing pictures of you in art class. She told everyone her daddy came back from a long trip. That's progress. A small but significant victory that made Nathan's chest swell with pride. Thank you for telling me that. Parent night is Thursday, Sophia mentioned. I know it's last minute. I'll be there, Nathan promised immediately. As he left the school, his lawyer called. Harold is pushing for a psychological evaluation, claiming your sudden interest in Emma is a midlife crisis that could harm her stability. Nathan's jaw tightened. He's getting desperate. There's more. He scheduled an emergency board meeting, suggesting your family situation is affecting company performance. Back at his office, Rachel waited with a pile of files. I rescheduled your meetings to accommodate Emma's school schedule and found this. She handed him books about parenting and information about local father-daughter activities. Nathan was momentarily speechless. Rachel, this is... Thank you. One more thing, she hesitated. Harold has been meeting with Jennifer's ex-boyfriend from after you two broke up. I don't know why, but it can't be good. Nathan nodded grimly. Learning the rules of parenting was challenging enough. Doing it while fighting an increasingly hostile uncle was exhausting. That night, as he tucked Emma into bed, she asked sleepily, Are you going to leave again? No, Emma, Nathan said firmly, kissing her forehead. I'm not going anywhere. For the first time since discovering her existence, Nathan felt Emma might actually believe him. Is this father-daughter journey touching your heart? Continue watching to see the next challenges. Nathan found the hidden box in Jennifer's old room, forgotten in the corner of the Parkers' attic. Inside were dozens of letters, all addressed to him, all unsent. We didn't know about these, Martha explained, her previous coldness softening slightly. Jennifer must have written them during the pregnancy. With trembling hands, Nathan opened the first letter, dated 8 years ago. Nathan, I have news that will change everything. I'm expecting our child. I called your office 17 times. Your uncle says you're too busy to talk to me. I don't believe him. Each letter revealed more of Jennifer's journey, her determination to reach him, her hope that he would return, her love for the unborn child. The final letter, written days before her death, broke him completely. "I still believe you'd want to know about her. I named her Emma. She has your birthmark, Nathan. Someday, I hope she'll find you." Grief and rage battled within him. Harold hadn't just kept him from his daughter, he'd also robbed him of Jennifer's final years. At his office, Rachel waited with grim news. "Harold leaked documents to the press suggesting you're pursuing Emma for tax benefits. It's all over the business blogs." Nathan's phone rang. Emma's school. "Mr. Anderson, there was an incident," Sophia explained. "Some children have been teasing Emma about the news articles. She's very upset." When Nathan arrived, Emma sat alone, tears streaming down her face. "Tommy said you only want me for money," she whispered. "Is it true?" Nathan knelt beside her. "Never. You're the most important person in my life, but you're always working, and you get angry when I make messes." The words stung with truth. Despite his intentions, Nathan had been impatient when Emma spilled juice on important papers, distracted during their time together by constant work emergencies. "I'm still learning to be a good father," he admitted, "but I promise to do better." That night, Harold appeared at Nathan's door, uninvited. "This charade has gone far enough," Harold said, dropping a folder on the table. "Jennifer was seeing someone else when she got pregnant. There's a chance Emma isn't even yours." Nathan's blood ran cold. "DNA tests can be manipulated," Harold interrupted. "The Parkers are desperate for financial support. Think about it." When Harold left, doubt crept in, despite Nathan's efforts to ignore it. Why had Jennifer never mentioned anyone else? His phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "I know the truth about Jennifer. Meet me tomorrow. Alone." Attached was a photo of Jennifer with another man, dated during the time they were supposedly together. Nathan stared at the image, the ground shifting beneath his feet once more. Everything he thought he knew about Jennifer, about Emma, about his newfound purpose, suddenly none of it seemed certain. The coffee shop where Nathan agreed to meet the mysterious messenger was nearly empty. A man approached, 40-ish, disheveled, with a hungry look in his eyes. "You must be Nathan Anderson," he said, sliding into the seat. "I'm Mark Stevens. I dated Jennifer briefly after you two broke up." Nathan studied him with suspicion. "You sent the photo." "Harold paid me too," Mark admitted bluntly. $10,000 to say I was with Jennifer when she got pregnant. He has more photos, all faked." Nathan's relief was immediate, followed by disgust. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Jennifer deserved better," Mark said quietly. "She never forgot you. Even when we were dating, your name was always on her lips. When she found out she was pregnant, she broke up with me immediately." "Did you know her when she had Emma?" Mark nodded. "I was there the day she died. Her last words were about you, that she was finally going to find you, introduce you to your daughter." The revelation hit Nathan like a physical blow. All these years, he thought Jennifer had deliberately kept Emma from him, when she was fighting to reach him, until her last breath. After Mark left, Nathan drove straight to the company headquarters, where the board meeting was already in progress. Harold was in the middle of a presentation when Nathan entered. Clearly distracted by personal matters, the company needs stable leadership. "I'd like to address the board," Nathan interrupted. Harold's face reddened. "This is highly irregular." "I'm still CEO," Nathan reminded him coldly. Facing the board members, Nathan made the decision that had been forming since he first saw Emma's birthmark. "Effective immediately, I'm taking a 3-month leave. My daughter needs me, and I need time to be the father she deserves." Harold scoffed. "This proves exactly my point." "No, Uncle," Nathan continued. "This proves I finally understand what matters. For years, I put this company first, missed holidays, relationships, life itself. I won't miss being Emma's father too." The boardroom erupted in murmurs. Harold slammed his fist on the table. "You're throwing away everything your father built." "I'm saving what matters most," Nathan replied. "This company will be here in 3 months. Emma's childhood won't wait." What a brave decision. Is this story moving your emotions? Leave your comment and continue watching. Later that night, Nathan sat with Robert Parker on the porch, the old man's arthritis-gnarled hands holding a worn photo album. "Jennifer kept a diary," Robert said, opening it to a page where a small key was taped. "She locked it before she died, said if anything happened to her, we should give it to you someday." The small diary, retrieved from a safe deposit box, contained Jennifer's innermost thoughts, her unwavering love for Nathan, her determination that Emma should know her father. The final entry, dated the day before she died from childbirth complications, read simply, "Tomorrow, I'll hold our daughter in my arms, and soon after I'll find you, Nathan. We'll finally be a family." When Nathan closed the diary, his phone rang. It was his lawyer. "Harold filed an emergency guardianship petition for Emma, claiming you're mentally incapacitated. The hearing is scheduled for next week." The battle lines were drawn. Nathan wasn't just fighting for his daughter, he was fighting for the future Jennifer had died believing in. "Higher! Higher!" Emma shouted as Nathan pushed her on the swing, her laughter echoing through the park. These Saturday morning outings had become their ritual over the past months, a simple pleasure neither took for granted. Nathan checked his watch. No urgent calls, no meetings. For the first time in his career, work wasn't his priority. The leave had been the right decision, despite Harold's continued legal maneuvering. "Watch me jump!" Emma cried, launching herself from the swing with fearless abandon. Nathan's heart leapt to his throat until she landed safely, smiling triumphantly. "Careful, sweetheart," he warned, though he couldn't help smiling at her adventurous spirit. So much like Jennifer's. "You worry too much," said a voice behind him. Nathan turned to find a woman watching them, her expression warm with recognition. "Sarah Williams," she introduced herself. "I was Jennifer's best friend." Recognition dawned from the photos in Jennifer's room. Sarah nodded. "I was hoping to meet you. The Parkers told me you're fighting for Emma." They sat on a bench, while Emma played nearby, Sarah sharing stories that filled crucial gaps in Nathan's understanding of Jennifer's final years. "She created this memory box," Sarah explained, handing him a small package, "for Emma's important milestones. Jennifer recorded videos, wrote letters for her birthdays, graduation, even her wedding someday." Nathan's throat tightened. "She thought of everything. She never doubted you'd find each other eventually," Sarah said softly, "even when everyone told her to move on." Later that afternoon, Nathan and Emma sat surrounded by Jennifer's memories, photos, keepsakes, and recordings that brought her presence into the room. "Mommy was beautiful," Emma observed, touching a photo reverently. "The most beautiful person I ever knew," Nathan agreed. Inside and out. They watched a video Jennifer had recorded shortly before Emma's birth, her voice strong, despite obvious fatigue. "Emma, my sweet girl, if you're watching this, know that you are so loved. Your father would have adored you as much as I do. Find him someday." Emma looked at Nathan, her eyes bright with tears, and something else, understanding. "She wanted us to be together," she said simply. "More than anything," Nathan confirmed. That night, as he tucked her in, Emma studied him thoughtfully. "I made something for you," she said, pulling a drawing from under her pillow. The crayon artwork showed 3 figures, a tall man, a little girl, and a woman surrounded by stars. "That's you, me, and Mummy watching us from heaven," Emma explained. Nathan swallowed hard. "It's perfect." As he turned to switch off the light, Emma's voice stopped him. "Good night, Daddy." 3 simple words that shifted his entire world into perfect alignment. "Good night, sweetheart," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Outside Emma's room, his phone buzzed with a message from his lawyer. Harold withdrew the guardianship petition. Victory. Nathan smiled, pocketing the phone. The real victory was sleeping peacefully in the room behind him, finally calling him Daddy. What a beautiful moment. Is this story of family reconnection touching your heart? Continue until the end. Nathan stared at the quarterly reports, numbers swimming before his eyes. 3 a.m., and he was still working, desperately trying to save the Miller account that had mysteriously begun unraveling during his absence. His phone buzzed, an urgent email from the board. 3 major clients had threatened to pull their business, citing instability in leadership. Harold's fingerprints were all over it. The kitchen light flicked on, revealing Emma in her pajamas, clutching the stuffed elephant he'd given her. "Why are you still awake?" she asked, rubbing her eyes. Nathan closed the laptop. "Just work, sweetheart. What's wrong?" "I had the dream again. About Mommy." Nathan pulled her onto his lap, breathing in the scent of her shampoo. These nightmares had started after Harold sent a reporter to Emma's school, resulting in an article questioning whether a single workaholic could provide adequate care. "Grandpa is coughing more," Emma whispered. "Grandma was crying." Nathan's stomach clenched. Robert's health had deteriorated rapidly in recent weeks. "Pneumonia," the doctor said, but Nathan suspected the stress from Harold's constant legal maneuvering was taking its toll. "We'll visit them tomorrow," Nathan promised. Morning brought more complications. Sophia called while Nathan was making breakfast. "There's a social worker here," she said, her voice tense, "asking questions about Emma's home life. You need to come." Nathan's jaw tightened. "Harold." At the school, the social worker, clearly briefed by Harold, questioned Nathan's ability to balance work and parenting. Sophia defended him fiercely, her hand occasionally touching his in silent support. The contact sent unexpected warmth through him. Their growing closeness had been the only bright spot in recent weeks. "Thank you for standing up for me," Nathan told Sophia afterward. "Always," Sophia replied, her smile making his heart race in a way he hadn't felt since Jennifer. That afternoon, Martha Parker called in tears. Robert had been hospitalized. "They're saying it's his heart now," she sobbed. "Nathan, we've been Emma's whole world. If something happens to Robert..." The unspoken question hung in the air. Would Emma move in with Nathan permanently? Nathan arrived at the hospital to find Harold already there, speaking quietly with a doctor. "Trying to turn the Parkers against me now?" Nathan demanded when the doctor left. Harold's expression remained calm. "I'm genuinely concerned about Robert's health. Unlike you, I'm not using a child as a pawn." "You've manipulated everything from the beginning," Nathan hissed. "You kept me from Jennifer, from Emma." "And look what's happening now that you got involved," Harold interrupted. "Robert's health failing, Emma having nightmares, your company losing millions." Nathan flinched. Harold pressed on. "Face facts. Everyone was better off before you decided to play daddy." The doubt Nathan had been fighting returned. Was Harold right? Was he making everyone's life worse? His phone rang. The Miller account was officially pulling out. Millions in revenue lost. Everything was falling apart, and Nathan wasn't sure how much more he could take. The pressure is mounting. Will Nathan be able to overcome these obstacles? Continue watching? The boardroom fell silent when Nathan entered. 14 stern faces turned toward him, Harold at the head of the table, with a satisfied smile playing on his lips. "Good of you to join us, Nathan," Harold said coldly. "We were discussing the company's future." Nathan had rushed from the hospital, where Robert's condition had stabilized but remained serious. The emergency board meeting, called without his knowledge, seemed like the final piece of Harold's elaborate chess game. "What's this about?" Nathan demanded. The board chairman cleared his throat. "Given recent developments, we voted to temporarily remove you as CEO, effective immediately." The words hit Nathan like a physical blow. "On what grounds?" Harold slid a document across the table. "The Miller account departure triggered a domino effect. We lost 4 major clients. Stock dropped 17%. Clients you pressured to leave," Nathan shot back, anger rising. "That's a serious accusation," Harold replied calmly. "Do you have proof?" Nathan didn't, and they both knew it. A knock interrupted. Nathan's assistant Rachel entered, her face pale. "Excuse me, but you need to see this," she whispered, handing Nathan her tablet. On the screen was a breaking news story. CEO's secret past. Nathan Anderson abandoned pregnant girlfriend. Accompanying it was a fabricated email, supposedly from Nathan to Jennifer, declining any responsibility for her pregnancy. "This is a lie," Nathan said through gritted teeth. "I never wrote that." Harold feigned concern. The timestamp matches when Jennifer tried to contact you. Perhaps you forgot. Before Nathan could respond, his phone rang. Martha Parker. The reporter showed us the email, she said, her voice crackling with anger. How could you, all this time pretending you didn't know? Martha, it's not true. We don't want you around Emma, she interrupted. Robert and I are filing for permanent guardianship. The room spun around Nathan. In one brutal stroke, he'd lost his company and potentially his daughter. Outside the boardroom, Sophia waited, her expression grave. The school received calls from concerned parents, she said quietly. The principal thinks it would be best if you didn't participate in the father-daughter dance tomorrow. You don't believe that nonsense, do you? Nathan asked desperately. Sophia's hesitation was answer enough. I want to believe you, Nathan, but the evidence that Harold fabricated. I need to think about what's best for Emma, Sophia said, stepping back. Maybe we should take a step back from us for now. By evening, Nathan sat alone in his apartment, surrounded by the toys and books he'd bought for Emma's planned visits. His phone buzzed with a message from Martha. Emma has been crying since she heard the news. She doesn't understand why you lied. A knock at the door revealed Harold, looking almost sympathetic. I came to offer a solution, he said softly. Resign permanently as CEO, sign over your voting shares, and I'll make the story disappear. The Parkers will let you see Emma occasionally. Nathan stared at his uncle, the man who had systematically dismantled his life. Why? Nathan whispered. Why destroy everything I care about? Harold's facade cracked, revealing the bitterness beneath. Your father chose you over me, despite my sacrifices. I built this company while he spoiled you. Then he left everything to his precious son. When Harold left, Nathan realized he'd lost everything. His company, Emma's trust, Sophia's support, and the future he'd begun to believe in. Jennifer's photograph looked back at him, her smile a painful reminder of everything he'd failed to protect. In the darkest moments, sometimes we find our true strength. Continue to see how Nathan will react. Nathan sat alone in his childhood home, a place he'd avoided for years. Dust sheets covered the furniture, memories lurked in every shadow. After losing everything, he'd retreated to the only place Harold couldn't touch, the modest house his parents owned before his father's business success. A week had passed since his world imploded. No calls from Emma, no responses to his texts explaining the fabricated emails. Nathan pulled out Jennifer's diary, reading her words again, searching for something he might have missed. Her final entry still haunted him. We'll finally be a family. I failed you, he whispered. I failed Emma. He wandered through the silent rooms, eventually finding himself in his father's old study. The family photo on the desk showed happier times. Nathan at 10, his parents smiling, Harold standing slightly apart, his expression unreadable. Had the resentment always been there? How had Nathan never seen it? On impulse, he opened his father's desk drawer, finding old business files, family documents, and a sealed envelope addressed to him in his father's handwriting. Inside was a letter dated 2 days before his father's fatal heart attack. Nathan, I fear Harold's influence over you is becoming harmful. He sees the company as his life's achievement, not a means to create meaning and value. Remember why we built this company, not for wealth or power, but to create something lasting, something that matters. Don't let ambition rob you of your chance at happiness. I've watched you follow Harold's path, putting success above relationships. Don't make my mistakes. I lost years with you chasing what Harold convinced me was important. It wasn't. You were. Nathan sank into his father's chair, the truth washing over him. He'd spent years becoming the man Harold wanted him to be. Focused, ruthless, alone, exactly what his father had warned against. The doorbell broke his reverie. Rachel stood on the porch, holding a thick folder. I've been worried about you, she said, entering. And I found something. The folder contained evidence of Harold's manipulation, intercepted communications between Jennifer and Nathan from years past, financial records showing Harold's systematic appropriation of Nathan's inheritance, and most damning, Harold's recent communications with the clients who'd abandoned Anderson Enterprises. "How did you get this?" Nathan asked, stunned. "Harold's assistant likes me more than she likes him," Rachel replied with a small smile. There was enough evidence to prove Harold's deception, potentially regain control of the company. Yet, as Nathan reviewed the documents, he realized something profound. The company no longer seemed important. "I've been chasing the wrong things," he said softly. "What matters then?" Rachel asked. "Emma being the father she deserves." Nathan stood, sudden clarity filling him. "Harold took everything because I valued the wrong things. My father tried to warn me. Jennifer knew what mattered. She always knew." He pulled out his phone, opening the photo of Emma's drawing, the three of them as a family, Jennifer watching from the stars. "I know what I need to do," Nathan said. That night, he drove to the cemetery where Jennifer was buried. He'd avoided coming here, fearful of facing the magnitude of his loss, but now he needed to connect with her. Kneeling by her grave, Nathan spoke from the heart, telling her about Emma, her smile, her laughter, her strength so much like her mother's. He spoke of his regrets, his anger at Harold's betrayal, his fear of losing Emma forever. "I won't let him win," Nathan promised. "Not this time. I'll fight for her, not with money or power, but with truth, with love, the way you would have." As dawn rose over the cemetery, Nathan felt something he hadn't experienced in weeks: hope. Harold had taken his company, his reputation, even temporarily Emma's trust, but he couldn't take Nathan's determination to be the father Jennifer believed he could be. Standing up, Nathan made a silent promise to the woman who never stopped believing in him. He would reclaim what truly mattered, not his company, but his daughter's heart. The real battle is just beginning. Are you cheering for Nathan? Continue until the exciting finale. Nathan stared at the weathered oak door of the Parker residence, bracing himself for rejection. The folder of evidence Rachel had compiled felt heavy in his hands, truth that could clear his name, but might not heal the hurt he'd caused. Martha opened the door, her expression hardening instantly. "I told you not to come. Please," Nathan said quietly. 5 minutes. For Emma. Something in his voice must have reached her, because Martha reluctantly stepped aside. The living room was quiet, except for the steady beeping of medical equipment. Robert had been discharged, but remained bedridden, an oxygen tube snaking across his weathered face. "You shouldn't be here," Robert said, though without the anger Nathan expected. Nathan placed the folder on the coffee table. "I didn't know about Jennifer's pregnancy. These documents prove Harold intercepted her calls, returned her letters, fabricated that email. He's been manipulating all of us for years." Martha flipped through the papers, her hands trembling slightly. "Even if this is true, it doesn't change what Emma's going through. She trusted you." "I know," Nathan acknowledged, "and I'll spend the rest of my life earning that trust back, if you'll let me see her." Robert and Martha exchanged glances. Finally, Robert nodded wearily. "She's at Sarah's, Jennifer's friend's place," he said. "She didn't want to stay here after everything." "Listen," the understanding in Robert's eyes nearly broke Nathan. "Jennifer would have fought for you," Robert said softly. "Go fight for our girl." Sarah's apartment was small but cozy, filled with photos of Jennifer. She greeted Nathan with cautious optimism. "She's confused," Sarah warned. "She thinks you lied about not knowing Jennifer was pregnant." Emma sat on the couch, her small body rigid with hurt. The exhaustion in her eyes, so much like Jennifer's, cut deeper than any business loss. "Emma," Nathan began, kneeling in front of her, "I need to tell you something important." He explained in simple terms how Harold had kept him away from her, showing Jennifer's unsent letters, the evidence Rachel had gathered. More importantly, he showed the memory box Jennifer had created, proof of how much both parents loved her. "Your mommy never stopped trying to find me," Nathan explained gently. "And if I had known about you, nothing would have kept me away." Emma's expression remained guarded. "Uncle Harold said you didn't want a little girl. That's why you stayed away." "Harold didn't tell the truth," Nathan replied. "I made mistakes, but not loving you was never one of them." He pulled out a small box. Inside was the deed to his childhood home. "I'm moving there permanently," he explained. "It's closer to your school, has a big yard. There's a room waiting just for you when you're ready." Emma's eyes widened slightly. "What about your fancy apartment, your company?" "They don't matter," Nathan said simply. "You matter." The first crack in Emma's armor appeared, a slight softening around her eyes. "Can I think about it?" she asked quietly. "Take all the time you need," Nathan assured her. "I'm not going anywhere." Sophia was grading papers when Nathan arrived at her classroom after school hours. "I have evidence that clears me," he said without preamble. "Harold fabricated everything." She studied the documents carefully. "I wanted to believe you," she admitted. "Emma misses you. She keeps drawing pictures of you in art class." "I made mistakes," Nathan acknowledged. "Putting work before relationships, letting Harold influence me. But loving Emma isn't one of them." Sophia's professional reserve melted slightly. "The father-daughter dance is Friday. Maybe you can still come." Nathan's lawyer reviewed the evidence against Harold with growing confidence. "This is enough to remove him from the board and potentially pursue criminal charges," he explained. "Several board members are already questioning Harold's leadership after the stock dropped even further this week." But Nathan had stopped listening, his attention caught by a small detail in one document, a clause in his father's will that Harold had hidden. "This says the company was always meant to establish a charitable foundation in my mother's name," Nathan realized. "The profits should help children who lost parents, like Emma almost lost both." The purpose his father had intended for the company, not wealth or power, but creating something meaningful, crystallized in Nathan's mind. Later that day, he called a trusted board member. "I need your help," Nathan explained, "not to get my job back, but to honor what Anderson Enterprises should have always been." No, for the first time since finding Emma, Nathan saw the bigger picture, not just reclaiming what Harold had taken, but building something better for his daughter's future. The twist is coming. Is this story moving you? Continue for the exciting climax. The annual Anderson Enterprises Charity Gala sparkled with wealth and privilege. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light over the city's elite as they discussed business and summer homes. Nathan adjusted his tie, feeling like an outsider despite having organized this event for years. He wasn't CEO tonight, just a man with truth burning in his pocket and determination in his heart. Emma squeezed his hand. "Are you scared, Daddy?" The word "daddy" still sent warmth through his chest every time she said it. "A little," Nathan admitted. "But doing what's right is more important than being scared." Sophia stood on Emma's other side, elegant in a simple blue dress. Her quiet support had become his anchor through the storm. "Whatever happens," she whispered, "we're with you." Harold dominated the center of the ballroom, playing the benevolent leader. His smile faltered when he spotted Nathan. "You weren't invited," Harold said coldly, approaching. "Actually, I was," Nathan replied. Several board members had privately expressed doubts about Harold's leadership, arranging Nathan's invitation to assess the situation. Harold's eyes narrowed toward Emma. "Using a child as a prop, new low, even for you." Emma stepped forward surprisingly. "He's not using me. I wanted to come." Harold's face hardened. "This is hardly appropriate for a child." "Neither is lying to keep her from her father," Nathan shot back. The ballroom fell silent as tension crackled between them. Nathan signaled Rachel, who activated the presentation system. The massive screens displayed the evidence. Harold's intercepted communications, forged documents, financial manipulations. For 8 years, Nathan addressed the stunned crowd. "Harold Montgomery prevented me from knowing I had a daughter. He intercepted Jennifer Parker's messages, returned her letters, and hid the truth." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the room. Harold's face reddened with fury. "These documents prove he fabricated evidence to turn Emma's grandparents against me," Nathan continued. "He manipulated clients to leave the company, forcing the board to remove me." Board members exchanged worried glances as Nathan concluded, I'm not here to reclaim my position. I'm here because my father founded this company with a purpose Harold buried, helping children who lost parents, like Emma, almost lost both. Harold lunged for the microphone. This is absurd. He's desperate. It's true, came a frail voice from the entrance. Robert Parker stood there, supported by Martha, his oxygen tank beside him. His presence completely silenced the room. We saw the evidence, Martha added. Harold lied to all of us. Harold's composure cracked completely. This company is mine. I built it while William coddled his precious son. The naked resentment shocked the crowd. 3 board members immediately moved to Nathan's side, symbolically shifting loyalty. Harold saw his empire crumbling. In desperation, he pulled Nathan aside. Leave now, he hissed. I'll reinstate you as CEO, give you controlling interest. Just abandon this crusade and leave the child with the grandparents where she belongs. Nathan studied the man who had shaped his life, his mentor, his uncle, his betrayer. You still don't understand, Nathan said calmly. I'm not choosing between Emma and the company. I'm choosing to be the man Jennifer believed I could be, the father Emma deserves. Harold's expression darkened. You're making a mistake. No, Nathan replied. That's what I did when I let you convince me success meant more than family. As Harold stormed out furiously, Emma slipped her hand into Nathan's. You chose me, she said, wonder in her voice. Every time, Nathan promised, lifting her into his arms. The board chairman approached. Nathan, we need to talk about Anderson Enterprises' future. Nathan nodded, but his focus remained on Emma's smile, the true measure of his success. Justice was served, but will Harold accept defeat? Continue for the exciting finale. The headlines declared victory. Anderson heir reclaims legacy. Family fraud exposed. CEO reinstated after uncle's deception revealed. But Nathan knew better than to celebrate. Harold's humiliation made him dangerous, and Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that the final battle was yet to come. His fears materialized 3 days after the gala. The Parker house was eerily quiet when Nathan arrived for Emma's weekend visit. No Robert in his usual spot by the window, no Martha bustling in the kitchen. Hello? Nathan called, unease climbing his spine. A manila envelope sat on the coffee table with his name scrawled across it. Inside was a court order and a letter from Martha. We took Emma to our lake house. Harold's lawyers contacted us with evidence that your company's financial troubles could impact Emma's future. We need time to think. Please don't follow us. Nathan's hands shook as he dialed their number. No answer. The lake house was 4 hours away, and they deliberately left without telling him. His lawyer's voice was grim when he called. Harold moved fast. He filed an emergency petition claiming your ability to provide for Emma is compromised. He leveraged Robert's medical bills. Apparently, he's been secretly paying them, creating financial dependence. He can't take her, Nathan whispered. There's more. Tomorrow's board meeting, Harold rallied minority shareholders. He's claiming your emotional instability threatens the company's recovery. He's offering to buy your shares at premium prices. Nathan's world tilted sideways. After everything, the truth revealed, Harold's deception exposed, he still risked losing both Emma and the company his father built. What do I do? Nathan asked, desperation creeping into his voice. Choose, his lawyer said bluntly. Fight Harold for the company or fight for Emma. We don't have resources for both battles simultaneously. The choice that once seemed so clear suddenly felt impossible. The company wasn't just wealth and power. It was his father's legacy, the source of security he wanted to provide for Emma, the foundation for the charity work he'd planned. Nathan drove to his childhood home, mind racing. Inside, Emma's drawings covered the refrigerator. Her favorite stuffed elephant waited on her bed, evidence of the family they were becoming. His phone rang. Sophia. The Parkers called the school, she said. They're withdrawing Emma temporarily. Nathan, what's happening? Harold, Nathan explained. One last move to destroy everything. After hanging up, Nathan sat in his father's study, crushed by the weight of his impossible choice. Fight for the company that could secure Emma's future, or fight for custody of the daughter who had already lost so much. A knock interrupted his thoughts. Rachel entered, her expression grim. "You need to see this," she said, placing a tablet in front of him. On the screen was security footage from the company's server room, Harold with Jennifer 8 years ago. The timestamp matched the period after she discovered her pregnancy. "If you proceed with this, I'll destroy him," Harold told a tearful Jennifer. "Nathan will lose everything, his inheritance, his future. Is that what you want for your child's father?" Jennifer's voice trembled. "Nathan deserves to know about his child. Then you'll both suffer," Harold threatened. "Consider this my only warning." The footage cut off. Nathan stared at the blank screen, ice flooding his veins. "Where did you get this?" "I found it hidden in encrypted files," Rachel replied. Harold kept it as insurance, proof of his threat. Nathan's grief hardened into determination. This wasn't just about him or even Emma. It was about justice for Jennifer, who had tried to protect him while fighting for her child. His phone lit up with a message from Martha. "Emma keeps asking for you. She doesn't understand why we left." Another message followed. A photo of Emma clutching the locket with Jennifer's photo, tears streaming down her face. Nathan stood, decision made. Harold had given him an impossible choice, forcing him to sacrifice his daughter or his legacy. But maybe there was another way, one that would require him to risk everything. Dawn rose over the cemetery, golden light filtering through the morning mist as Nathan approached Jennifer's grave. He wasn't surprised to find Harold already there, thoughtfully contemplating the headstone. "You knew I'd come here," Nathan said quietly. Harold didn't turn. "You were always predictable, sentimental like your father." Nathan placed fresh flowers beside Jennifer's name. "I've made my decision. I won't fight you for the company." Now Harold turned, triumph gleaming in his face. "Finally showing some sense." "No," Nathan corrected. "Finally showing some courage. I'm donating everything." Harold's expression hardened. "What are you talking about?" "I transferred my shares to the Jennifer Parker Foundation, a charity fund dedicated to supporting single parents and children who lost a parent. The papers were filed last night." Harold's face paled. "You can't do that." "It's already done," Nathan said. "The shares can never be sold or transferred, only used to fund the foundation's work. My father's original vision for the company, before you corrupted it." Harold lunged forward, grabbing Nathan's lapels. "You destroyed everything I built." "No," Nathan said calmly, removing Harold's hands. "I saved what matters. The board will never accept this. They already have. 4 directors signed on as foundation trustees this morning." Rage contorted Harold's features. "And your precious daughter? How will you support her without the company?" "I don't need millions to be a good father," Nathan replied. Jennifer understood that. She knew what really mattered. The fight seemed to drain from Harold suddenly, leaving him looking old and defeated. "You chose a child over an empire." "I chose love over power," Nathan corrected. "Something you never understood." Harold scoffed. "And the Parkers? They took Emma. They're bringing her home today," Nathan said. "Once they saw the video of you threatening Jennifer, they understood everything. The court already dismissed your petition." Harold's expression shifted to something Nathan had never seen before: fear. "That video was private," Harold whispered. "Nothing stays hidden forever," Nathan replied, "especially the truth." Harold looked at Jennifer's grave, then back at Nathan. "What happens to me?" "That depends on you," Nathan said. "Resign from the board, disappear quietly, and I won't press charges. Stay, and I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what you did to Jennifer, to Emma, to me." For a moment, Harold seemed ready to fight, but then his shoulders sagged. "You never understood," Harold said softly. "I did everything for the family name." "No," Nathan contradicted. "You did it for yourself and sacrificed our family in the process." As Harold walked away, Nathan turned back to Jennifer's grave, placing his hand gently on the cold stone. "It's over," he whispered. "He can't hurt us anymore." A car approached on the cemetery path. Nathan recognized the Parker's old truck. Martha got out first, followed by Robert moving slowly with his oxygen tank. Then the back door opened and Emma jumped out, running toward Nathan with tears streaming down her face. "Daddy!" she cried, launching herself into his arms. Nathan held her tight, his own tears falling freely. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm not going anywhere." Over Emma's shoulder, he saw Sophia emerge from the car, smiling through her tears. Beyond her, the morning sun broke completely through the mist, illuminating Jennifer's name on the granite stone, a silent witness to the family that had finally, after so many years, been reunited. What a beautiful reunion moment. But every great story needs a perfect ending. Continue for the emotional epilogue. 1 year later, Nathan stood in the backyard of his childhood home, now transformed with colorful flowers and a swing set. Laughter filled the air as Emma chased her new puppy Daisy across the freshly cut grass. The simple joy on his daughter's face was worth more than all the business deals he'd ever closed. "Need help with that?" Sophia asked, stepping onto the patio where Nathan was arranging cupcakes for Emma's birthday party. "Please," he smiled, pulling her close for a quick kiss. Their relationship had blossomed naturally over the past year, built on shared devotion to Emma and quiet moments stolen between school runs and bedtime stories. "I can't believe she's turning 7 today," Nathan marveled, watching Emma demonstrate to her grandparents how high she could swing. Robert and Martha Parker had become regular fixtures in their lives. Robert's health had improved markedly once the stress of Harold's manipulations lifted. Now they came for Sunday dinners and holiday celebrations. Past conflicts dissolved into genuine affection. "Jennifer would be proud," Sophia said softly, following his gaze. "Of both of you." Nathan nodded, his hand instinctively touching the framed photo of Jennifer that held a place of honor in their living room. They spoke of her frequently, keeping her memory alive for Emma through stories and traditions. The memory box Jennifer had created had become a precious ritual. Each birthday, Emma opened another letter from the mother she never knew. "Daddy, look!" Emma called, pointing to the driveway where Sarah was arriving with a large gift box. "Sarah's here!" Nathan smiled at Emma's excitement. Sarah had become an honorary aunt, connecting Emma's past and present with stories about Jennifer that kept her spirit alive in their home. The doorbell rang, and Nathan excused himself to answer. Rachel stood on the porch, now the executive director of the Jennifer Parker Foundation. "Sorry I'm late," she said, handing him a brightly wrapped package. The board meeting ran long. The new scholarship program launches next month. 15 children who lost parents will receive full college funding. Nathan felt familiar warmth spread through his chest. The foundation had grown beyond his wildest hopes, helping hundreds of families in its first year. Jennifer's legacy lived on in ways she never could have imagined when he made that fateful decision to prioritize love over power. "Any word from Harold?" Rachel asked cautiously. Nathan shook his head. His uncle had vanished from public life after their confrontation, reportedly living overseas. The occasional postcard arrived for Emma, tentative, clumsy attempts at connection that Nathan neither encouraged nor prevented. She deserved to make her own decisions about family when she was older. "Nathan!" Sophia called from the kitchen door. "It's time!" Inside, they gathered around the dining table where a cake adorned with 7 candles waited. Emma sat in the chair of honor, her eyes bright with excitement. Before lighting the candles, Nathan handed her a small velvet box, another tradition they'd begun. "This was your mommy's," he explained, as Emma revealed a delicate silver bracelet with charms. "She wore it when she was your age." Emma fastened it carefully around her wrist, next to the locket she never removed. "Do you think she can see us?" she asked, her voice small but steady. "I know she can," Nathan assured her, emotion tightening his throat. After the candles were blown out and presents opened, Nathan found a quiet moment on the porch. Emma's laughter drifted from inside, where Sophia was helping her try on her new dress. The simple contentment of this moment, a happy child, a loving home, was everything. His phone buzzed with an email from the company board. Though no longer CEO, Nathan remained connected to his father's legacy through the foundation. The company was thriving under new leadership, its charitable mission restored. Sunset painted the sky in shades of pink and gold as Nathan reflected on the journey that brought him here. 8 years lost with his daughter, years he could never reclaim. Yet the future stretched before them, bright with promise. The screen door creaked as Emma came outside, settling beside him on the porch swing. "I read Mommy's birthday letter," she said, leaning against his side. "What did she write?" Nathan asked. "She said to remember that love is the most important thing, more important than money or being important." Emma looked at him seriously. "Like what you did, right? Choosing me instead of your company." Nathan felt tears prick his eyes at her simple understanding of his most profound decision. "Exactly like that," he whispered. "I think she'd be happy," Emma decided, her small fingers tracing the charm bracelet. "We made the family she wanted." Nathan pressed a kiss to the top of her head, his heart full beyond measure. Jennifer had known what mattered long before he did, but he'd finally learned the lesson she tried to teach, that no success was worth sacrificing the people you love. As the first stars appeared in the twilight sky, Nathan and Emma sat together, swinging gently. Not the family he once imagined, but the one he was destined for from the beginning. And so ends our emotional story. If this journey touched your heart, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone special. Sometimes the best stories are about finding what truly matters in life. See you in the next story.